Yeah, I think I'll be calling bullshit on anybody who believes that using hydrogen peroxide on your algae problems in your aquarium will turn the hydrogen peroxide H2O2 into water H2O and oxygen. Stay tuned for my experience using hydrogen peroxide to take care of my Bryopsis. Hey YouTube, what is happening everybody? How's it going today? Welcome back to Aquaporn with me, Steve. It has been a while, folks. I'm really sorry I haven't put out a video in a while. I got a new job and I was out in Austin, Texas training for about 4 weeks. So let's get back on track. We're talking about the Bryopsis today. So I finally gave up and nuked this tank. I nuked it up good. Kent Tech M was not working at all. It was starting to get really pricey and it just wasn't killing the Bryopsis as advertised. The GFO and water changes weren't budging it that much either. So when I went away for 4 weeks, you know, I just had my wife feed the tank. So it really got out of control and I just decided, well, I'm going to just start over. So that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm starting over. And how I got rid of the Bryopsis in this tank right now is I used hydrogen peroxide. Now I don't recommend using this. This is just something I did. I read a little bit about it and decided since I'm starting over, I have no corals in the tank to worry about. I have limited livestock. So let's just get rid of this once and for all, and I dropped the hydrogen peroxide bomb and just nuked this thing to get rid of the Bryopsis. Now with hydrogen peroxide, like I said, I don't recommend doing this. I don't do how-to videos. I just document what I'm doing, and if you learn a little something, well then it's a happy accident. But this is what I did to get it under control. Essentially, I manually removed as much of the Bryopsis as I could. I just picked it off the rock. Then I took the rock out and when I was doing a water change, scrubbed it in some of the salt water. I then had like a little dip of hydrogen peroxide next to it and I just slightly dipped the problem areas on the rock where the Bryopsis was really bad. I just dipped it in the hydrogen peroxide. I didn't soak it. I didn't, you know, leave it in there for a long period of time. I just dipped it. Then I took my toothbrush and dipped it in the hydrogen peroxide and scrubbed the rock. Now the problems with this and doing this method, and this was entirely anticipated. I was hoping for the best. I was hoping this wouldn't happen, but it did. So when you're using hydrogen peroxide, we use hydrogen peroxide on our kids' boo-boos and, you know, cuts and scrapes and that type of thing. And why do we do that? Because it kills bacteria. So what I did is I killed all the bacteria on this rock. This rock is now dead rock. Dead rock, just as bone white as when I first started. So it killed all the bacteria, most likely killed off all of the little critters and any microfauna that I may have had. And I was hoping it wouldn't kill the coralline algae, but I believe that did as well. I still have some growing up there on the overflow, but it didn't, you know, I don't know if I killed it or not. I tried to be really careful. It's definitely dying on my pump over here, but I'm leaving it on just in case, because that way I can just scrape it and reseed the tank with the coralline algae. But yeah, I just nuked this tank, and I'm seeing like a mini cycle, what I hope to be a mini cycle right now, because the ammonia level did spike a bit, and that is essentially why, because I killed all of my bacteria. I was hoping there'd be enough bacteria down in the sump to keep the system going with what little livestock I do have in the tank. I did lose my pistol shrimp. I lost my cleaner shrimp, and that's because they were more than likely sensitive to the toxicity levels of the hydrogen peroxide. And I knew it was going to happen, but I just have to get this done and just start over. Get this build back on track, and I decided I'm just going to start over. I'm tired of spending money on Kentech M. New algae didn't work, and that's kind of pricey. There's like, and then the water changes. I just needed to start with a clean slate, and so that's where we're at, folks. I'm going to start rebuilding this tank. Hopefully it doesn't take very long. I'm going to start out by getting a new cleanup crew in here. You know, as you can see, the clownfish is doing well. I do have a watchman goby. My carpet nem, he seems to be surviving, although he's not as fluffy as he usually is, or big and out. He seems to be okay. So don't do hydrogen peroxide unless it's a absolute last resort. It was my last resort. I was at the end of my rope. I had to either get rid of it or just completely get out of the hobby. So this tank is going to be up and running 2 years by March, so I just needed to start all over again. And like I said, luckily I didn't have any corals. I'll just rebuild from here. Down below I got rid of all my Chaeto, and I'm going to go on with a complete blackout for a month, and if there's any Bryopsis or anything down there, hopefully that'll take care of it. So now that I got my new job, I'm back on track with making some videos. I got some great videos coming up. We're going to start this build over again. I'm going to be redoing the whole interface on my controller, and I've got some code written to actually completely finish that up, and that'll be done. Then I've got 15 tanks in my garage where I'm breeding South American cichlids. I've got some Apistos, I've got some firemouths, and lots of things like that. A lot more DIY coming your way. So stick around, stay tuned, subscribe. We'll catch you all next time. Have a good one, y'all.